himself Kofi Annan, says anyone who lacks the sense of history is like an individual without eyes or ears of Adolf Hitler. History has it that it has worked best for Kenya in 2008 and 2012 than any other movement since the independence, and it has worked best. Okay. We also have Korir who says, to me, no to the amendments of the Constitution. Remember when Deputy President said, let's make the Constitution well. Somebody else says, I believe that the Honorable Member of Parliament is on the right course. However, how is this going to change? Because the leaders that we have still remain the same. And I guess that comes into the question that you are raising, and that is to do with the question of even the party structures that we have right now are questionable in terms of democracy. And if those are not strengthened yet, how is it that what is at the top is going to be strengthened in any way? Maybe let's start with you, Honorable Kamket, on that.
Jubilee and NASA are the closest we have come to actually Jubilee coalition and NASA coalition are the closest we have come as a country to very strong political parties.
And what defines strong? Because when we talk about strong political parties, we'd imagine that the structures that run these political parties are strong. However, when we look at even the nominations, for example, that took place just before the elections, both Jubilee and NASA left many questions unanswered. You know, in how they did it.
Nominations are very murky, very all over the world.
Doesn't that then reveal
in other jurisdictions? Just a moment. In other jurisdictions, they avoid this thing called nominations. They have what they call party lists. A political party will determine in terms of priority this particular person is going to be a candidate for this year, for this particular election. But those are matters, in my opinion, that can develop as we move along. What matters most for me, and what this bill seeks to address, is the problem, the elephant in the room. Why is it that at every general election, ever since, and mostly, ever since the Constitution of Kenya 2010 was adopted, why is it that elections have become a matter of life and death? That, in my opinion, is what informed this bill. And these are the issues about nominations and strengths of parties, and those are matters we can address as we move along. I would like this Kenya. I do not want to hear any Kenyan saying that we do not feel like we are Kenyans. And it's a very, if we solve the problem of this apex, I am sure we will quieten this noise. And I am being real here. I am not idealistic in any way. You know, it's a very simple matter, that the problem is the apex. Why are we fighting so viciously? And my friend here is trying to say that the power has been clipped away from the presidency, but no, that is more, it is more written in paper than the real issues happening. So, in my opinion then, it looks like the presidential system, from the experiment we have had for the last 8 years, is not good for this country. It is only fair that we as a people must reinvent ourselves, must renew ourselves. A country, a nation that does not reinvent itself can only self-destruct. Do we want to go that route? No.
Okay.
And since we have the chance, I have this God-given chance to be a member of parliament. The opportunity I have to amend the issues that are bringing problems in our constitution is the opportunity I am seizing. Remember, before we adopted this constitution, Kenyans were saying 20% is bad, but let us pass and amend first. Have we amended? No. This bill then presents an opportunity to begin this debate, and then any other body that has no access to parliament, like I do, let us begin making this debate,
Okay.
and any issues that are there with the constitution, let them come together. We have an omnibus bill as a referendum, and we go to the referendum.
All right. One of the biggest problems we have in this country is just the fact of feeling some people feel excluded, and the issue of national unity. Steve, do you think that this bill would work towards having Kenya more united than it is today?
I don't think so. I don't see it for now. Let us just be aware of the challenges we face if we transfer one set of problems to another set of problems, because I believe Kenya's problem is sociological, political, philosophical, and maybe ideological. There is a terrible mismatch between the law, what the law has ordained, and what is currently being delivered by the leadership of the political wing of government. Our constitution seeks to inspire national renewal. You can't take that away. The design of the constitution is to inspire national renewal. And we can talk here all day about the mechanism, existing mechanism, how that is supposed to be achieved. Have we achieved that? No. If we dismantle the constitution and bring in another framework, we're just transferring. Listen, the parliamentary system comes with its own attendant challenges. We have weak internal party democracy. It might, in fact, deepen the exclusion. I'm worried about how we are going to reconfigure the whole constitution, because you see, there's also the doctrine of basic structure. Preserving certain aspects of the Kenyan constitution that makes it unique, and doing things that do not, avoiding things that may weaken that structure. At the face of it, it may appear that if we shift from a parliamentary system, then what Mheshimiwa is saying, you'd probably have the executive in parliament. He's saying that ministers should be appointed. We've been there. Have we seen better governance before?
Yes.
Have we truly said that? Can we truly say that we've seen better governance
and that
before?
Remains,
so that's an ongoing debate. What I want us to do is this. Let us reflect in a very sober and dispassionate manner. The anxieties that I worked with in this studio haven't been resolved 1 hour later. That anxiety is, what is the transformative value other than moving the executive from the presidency to the prime minister? Do you have a problem of accountability? Are we sure? Can we say with certainty that we have exhausted opportunities to strengthen accountability? No. We have a problem of, we have not disinherited our bad manners of the past. This constitution must be approached with some level of decency and honesty and humility, service to all, which I think we haven't done. I want to ask Mheshimiwa, is there an opportunity to capture what he cares for? Because I'm sure he means well, in the existing framework before we start mutilating the constitution, introducing new approaches to deal with old problems, which after we realize that, I want to give you one final example, the election laws. Many Kenyans may have forgotten. Do you know that the Election Offences Act was part of the Elections Act? What did Kenyans say in 2013? No, we're having problems of enforcing election laws because the Elections Offences Act is an inbuilt mechanism in the Elections Act. So let's separate it. This last election, we had a standalone Election Offences Act pulled from the Election Act of the...
Still didn't resolve the problem.
Did we really resolve the problem?
All right.
So
and Mheshimiwa, do you first of all agree that we have a problem with accountability at the moment?
Yes. The most...
And this lack of accountability, we are talking about the legislature, we are talking about the executive. Do we have a problem with accountability?
There is a very serious problem.
Okay. And have we exhausted all the avenues within the current structure to address that? Because, for instance, if it's the executive, there's a separation of powers, which is supposed to be there. But we still see like there's a meddling from the executive to the legislature. Have we exhausted every possible way of dealing with that with the current structure before, like he uses the word, mutilate the Constitution?
We are not, first of all, we are not mutilating the Constitution. We are improving on the Constitution. Mutilation is a very negative word. Let's be positive. We are trying to improve on the document. This is a document we made ourselves. We gave it to ourselves. If there are issues with it, let us just improve. What is happening in the relationship between the executive and the legislature now is we are having two arms of government, in my opinion, and remember I have been Speaker for County Assembly of Baringo before, and I have seen this happening also at the county governments. We have a situation where Parliament, in the plenary session of Parliament, which is the most important session of Parliament, sits and talks to itself. You have committee chairpersons purporting to come to Parliament to answer questions, real issues that are affecting the citizens of this country, to answer questions from their colleagues, members of Parliament, about real issues that are affecting the people. They, most times, with due respect to my colleagues, they are just given written notes, and when you seek supplementary questions to issues, they go blank.
Okay, but
wait. Let me explain. This is very important. Two, when you have members of Parliament pretending to be executive as chairpersons of committees, coming to give like yesterday budget policy statement. The chairperson of the Committee on Budget and Appropriations, and I'm going to appear before them very soon. You see, it is, if Mheshimiwa Ichung'wa, for instance, was the Minister for Finance, he would have all the tools with him. Even if he represents Kikuyu, he would have all the tools with him to come and present that budget policy statement as Minister for Finance. Now, we have a stranger out there as Minister for Finance. How many times does he have to come to committee? So we are trying to say that, what I'm trying to say is that the current structure has made the executive working with the legislature at cross purposes. We do not want a situation where those two very strong arms of government working at cross purposes.
Okay. Well, one question I've asked, and I'm still not sure I've got an answer, is whether we have exhausted all the available means to hold our leaders accountable with the current structure before we change the Constitution. Because changing the Constitution is another long road we're going down, and no guarantees that it's going to change anything.
In my opinion, when you say exhausting other avenues, I do not, as a parliamentarian, from where I sit, I do not see any other avenue other than amending the Constitution. Because what other avenue is there? Because we'll be glossing over the issues. In my opinion, in my considered view, the only way is to bring these two, to have a fusion between the legislature and the executive. That way, we will address many issues that are not going right in this country.
Okay.
But because any other way is glossing over those issues.
Okay.
It's most sincerely.
All right, Steve, we'll soon need to wind up, but are you convinced that this is possibly a healthy way to go? Or do you feel that we possibly have not exhausted the current opportunities and avenues that are open to us with the current structure?
I think maybe the feedback I'd like to give Mheshimiwa is that the general public received this bill with shock. I mean, it was completely unanticipated. So we are trying to understand the new vision in it. You get why this bill? Because you see, Parliament as it is now is unconstitutional. Yeah, insofar as the law on composition is concerned. So one would have imagined Parliament would concern itself with passing the two-third gender bill, for instance, to regularize its composition, because for every 2 men, you need a woman. So they have not cared to attend to that. But certainly, there is significant effort now to try and reorganize the structure of governance at a national level without critical public input. If I remember the constitutional dialogues, we've been here. People spoke eloquently. Scholars, people with a detailed understanding of governance on why we need to go pure presidential, how the benefit of having an executive not encumbered with legislative responsibilities. We've been there before. So it seems to me that we're just going around in circles. It shows that we surely have a problem that is deeper than legislation. And it's an attitude problem. It's a perception. He talked about a perception. I think our leaders have not given us the perception that they have maintained the independence of the institution and they have if you need to renovate the law, first of all, renovate the culture of governance in this country, bring it to the level of compliance. Can we say with certainty that the executive has done the best? In fact, the other aspects of this bill that we're not discussing, now this bill says that, for instance, MCAs will be electing in a collegiate manner the senators. What is the rationale? Where has that emerged from? Have you picked some discussion? Have representatives who elect senators, have we complained? Because they are both arguments on either way. For me, I see a problem with that. Other than cost saving, I hope that was not the intention, to just save money at an election, because if MCAs can elect the senator, then they can also recall easily. How does that speak to their own critical role of holding the national government accountable? And also, we are still struggling with understanding the differentiation between the role of MCAs in oversighting county government and the role of vis-a-vis the complementary role of senators. You know, do they have, other than just supporting county interest, maintaining county interest on the national level, do they have a comparing role to support counties that they come from? All those haven't been debated and discussed. And now you have an abrupt proposal that let MCAs elect the senators. I think what suffices to say is this. We have received the bill, yes. I'm sure the Law Society of Kenya will weigh in. Other Kenyans will weigh in. And I just want to plead with members of parliament to be open to criticism, be open to alternative thinking, and if the psyche of the nation is that let us exhaust or innovate within our existing frameworks before we say we are done, we made a mistake with this kind of arrangement, before we go out of that. I think that would be maybe. And
we'll need to wind up, Mheshimiwa, but there are those who feel that possibly this bill is also in preparation for 2022. Your comments to that?
It's easy. It's easy to say that because I'm a politician, and it's an easy thing to say. But
does it have 2022 in mind?
I'm responding to you. As I'm saying, it's an easy thing to say.
Okay.
But it has nothing absolutely to do with 2022. My legislative proposal is for posterity. 2022 will come and go. If we still have the same problems that we have, then we still have, after the election of 2022, we'll be fighting again. It is better that we have a sense of inclusivity in our superstructure of governance. That is what I seek to address.
All right.
Yeah.
And maybe with your closing comments, do you think you'll get support? We already have the leader of majority who has disowned the bill. We'll also have people from the opposition who have said they're not comfortable with the bill. Do you think you'll get support?
You know, the leader of majority has a job to keep, and I do not begrudge him. He's my senior. He reminded me that I'm a member of KANU. That's true. I'm elected. I'm a very proud member of KANU. But I think he was also trying to remind himself that in Garissa County is perhaps the only, all the other elected leaders are members of KANU in Garissa County. And KANU is not in Jubilee at the invitation of Honorable Duale. We are there.
We'll need to wind up. Do you think you'll get support? That was the question. Do you think we'll get support?
We believe from the conversations I've had with members of parliament across the political divide, this bill is timely, and everybody, all my colleagues that I've spoken to, they're saying everybody wants to be the one to second the bill when it's finally tabled in the National Assembly. So the support is there.
All right.
Only that we are open. I am open to all manner of improvements. I am only suggesting.
All right, it's a suggestion so far. We'll have to wind up right there. Sorry, I'll have to cut you short. Honorable William Kamket Tiati, Member of Parliament, and Steve Ogolla, who's a lawyer. And that's the state of the nation. For now, we're going to take a short break, but do stay with us. When we come back, we'll be looking at, land and how technology can answer some of the old age questions of land right here in Kenya. For those of you living in diaspora, this would be very, very interesting for you, especially if you'd like to own land here in Kenya with all the anomalies that have been there. For now, we take a short break. We'll be right back with Tech Central.